You would be telling Palestinians to abandon the fantasy of flooding Israel with refugees or amputating parts of the Negev and the Galilee. In recognizing the Jewish state, you would finally make clear that you are truly prepared to end the conflict. So recognize the Jewish state. No excuses, no delays. It's time. Now, my friends, it may take years, it may take decades for this formal acceptance of Israel to filter down to all layers of Palestinian society. So if this peace is to be more than a brief Israel, if the peace unravels, you see, those security arrangements would always be important. But they're even more important and critical today when the entire Middle East is unraveling. 3 years ago, our region was a very different place. Can anyone sitting here, anyone listening to us, can anyone tell me and be sure what the Middle East will look like 5, 10, 20 years from now? We cannot bet the security of Israel on our fondest hopes. You know, in the Middle East, that's usually a losing bet. We should always hope for the best, but in the Middle East, we have to be prepared for the worst. And despite the best of hopes, international peacekeeping forces sent to Lebanon, Gaza, Sinai, the Golan Heights, they didn't prevent those areas from becoming armed strongholds against Israel. If we reach an agreement, as I hope, with the Palestinians, I don't delude myself. That peace will most certainly come under attack, constant attack, by Hezbollah, Hamas, Al-Qaeda, and others. And experience has shown that foreign peacekeeping forces, well, that they keep the peace only when there is peace. But when they're subjected to repeated attacks, those forces eventually go home. So as long as the peace is under assault, the only force that can be relied on to defend the peace and defend Israel is the force defending its own home, the Israeli army, the brave soldiers of the IDF. I'm going to reveal to you a secret. This position may not win me universal praise. That occasionally happens when I stake out positions, but I'm charged with protecting the security of my occasionally happens when I stake out positions, but I'm charged with protecting the security of my people, the people of Israel. And I will never gamble with the So as we work in the coming days, in the coming weeks, I know you do too. Thank you. My friends, one movement that's definitely on the wrong side of the moral divide is the movement to boycott Israel, the so-called BDS. That movement will fail. Let Let me tell you why. I want to explain to you why. Beyond our traditional trading partners, countries throughout Asia, Africa, Latin America, where I'll soon be going to, these countries are flocking to Israel. They're not coming to Israel, they're flocking to Israel. They want Israeli technology to help transform their countries as it has ours. And it's not just the small countries that are coming to Israel. It's also the superpowers. You know, the other superpowers. Apple, Google, Microsoft, Intel, Facebook, Yahoo. They come because they want to benefit from Israel's unique ingenuity, dynamism, and innovation. And I can tell you the BDS boycott movement is not going to stop that, any more than the Arab boycott movement could stop Israel from becoming a global technological power. They are going to fail. And in the knowledge-based century, the knowledge-based economy, Israel's best economic days are ahead of it. Mark my words. Now wait. I don't want you to get complacent. Because the fact that they're going to fail doesn't mean that the BDS movement shouldn't be vigorously opposed. They should be opposed because they're bad for peace and because BDS is just plain wrong. Most people in the BDS movement don't seek a solution of two states for two peoples. On the contrary, they openly admit that they seek the dissolution of the only state for the Jewish people. They're not seeking peace. They're not seeking reconciliation. But some of their gullible fellow travelers actually do believe that BDS advances peace. Well, the opposite is true. BDS sets back peace because it hardens Palestinian positions and it makes mutual compromise less likely. But I think these are all important points, but not the critical important. The critical thing is that BDS is morally wrong. It turns morality on its head. This is the main point. And I can tell you, it's not that Israel, like all states, is not beyond criticism. We have a boisterous democracy where everyone has an opinion. And believe me, no one in Israel is shy about expressing it, about anything. In Israel, self-criticism is on steroids. But the BDS movement is not about legitimate criticism. It's about making Israel illegitimate. It presents a distorted and twisted picture of Israel to the naive and to the ignorant. BDS is nothing but a farce. Here's why. Listen. In dozens of countries, academics are imprisoned for their beliefs. So the universities of which country does BDS want to sanction and boycott? Israel, the one country in the Middle East where professors can say, write, and teach what they want. Throughout the Middle East, Christians are fleeing for their lives. So which country does BDS want churches to divest from? You got it. Israel, the one country in the Middle East that protects Christians and protects the right of worship for everyone. Throughout the Middle East, journalists are jailed, gays are hanged, and women are denied their most basic rights. So which country does BDS want to sanction? Take a guess. Israel, the only country in the region with a free press, a progressive gay rights record, and where women have presided over each of the three branches of government. Now, when you hear this, and anybody can verify this, so you have to wonder, how could anyone fall for the BS in BDS? How can they fall for this? Well, you shouldn't be surprised. Throughout history, people believed the most outrageously absurd things about the Jews. That we were using the blood of children to bake matzahs, that we were spreading the plague throughout Europe, that we were plotting to take over the world. Yeah. But you can say, how can educated people today believe that in consciousness over millennia? And from antiquity to the Middle Ages to modern times, Jews were boycotted, discriminated against, and singled out. Today, the singling out of the Jewish people has turned into the singling out of the Jewish state. So you see, attempts to boycott, divest, and sanction Israel, the most threatened democracy on earth, are simply the latest chapter in the long and dark history of anti-Semitism. Those who wear the BDS label should be treated exactly really stand for: bigotry, dishonesty, and shame. And those who oppose BDS, like Scarlett Johansson, they should be applauded. Scarlett, I have one thing to say to you. I bring you a message from Jerusalem, the cradle of our common civilization, the crucible of our shared values. It's a message from the Bible. החיים והמוות נתתי לפניך, הברכה והקללה, ובחרת בחיים, למען תחיה אתה וזרעך. I have put before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Choose life so that you and your offspring may live. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, never forget, America and Israel stand for life. We stand together on the right side of the moral divide. We stand together on the right side of history. So stand tall, stand strong, stand proud.